Zainab was once known for her laughter that lit up every room, a young woman whose faith had always been her anchor. She wore her hijab with pride, prayed 5 times a day, and kept the Qur'an close to her heart. But life, in all its unpredictability, had a way of testing even the strongest of hearts. It started with the sudden death of her father. He had been the pillar of their home, gentle, wise, and deeply faithful. His loss shook Zainab's world like an earthquake. She held her mother as they wept silently in the middle of the night, praying for peace that never seemed to come. The days turned into weeks, and though she continued her salah, her heart began to harden. She stopped attending Islamic classes, stopped reciting Qur'an, and slowly withdrew into a shell of grief and confusion. When she got laid off from her job 6 months later, Zainab questioned everything. She stared at the ceiling one night and whispered, "Ya Allah, why me? Am I not the same Zainab who always turned to you first?" The silence that followed her question felt unbearable. Her phone stayed quiet. Her friends, though kind, couldn't reach the sorrow that lived deep in her chest. She felt invisible, even to Allah. One night, she stood at her window watching the rain fall like soft mercy from the sky. She hadn't prayed in days. Guilt hung around her like a fog. She remembered how her father used to whisper, "Sabr, beta, Allah never abandons his servants." Her eyes welled up. She missed him so much. She missed feeling connected to Allah. Something inside her stirred. She walked slowly to the prayer mat, unfolded it with trembling hands, and stood for prayer. Her voice cracked as she whispered Allahu Akbar. By the time she reached sujud, her tears flowed freely. She stayed there, forehead pressed to the ground, pouring out every pain, every doubt, every ache. That night was the beginning of her return. She didn't change overnight, but she made a promise to herself, to pray, no matter what. Some days her heart was present, some days it wasn't. But she kept showing up. She found strength in silent dua during Fajr, in the smell of her father's old Qur'an, in listening to Surah Maryam as she folded laundry. She began volunteering at a women's shelter run by a local masjid. One afternoon, a young sister with tearful eyes asked her, "How do you stay so strong?" Zainab smiled, a tear escaping down her cheek. "I don't," she said softly. "I just keep turning back to him." Again and again, she learned that sabr was not passive. It was active surrender, a fierce trust in Allah's plan even when it made no sense. She saw how every hardship had softened her, drawn her closer to the one who never left her side. Years later, she would look back at her pain with gratitude. It had carved wisdom into her soul, drawn her to her knees, and taught her the sweetness of a heart fully reliant on its creator. Her favorite ayah became her daily reminder. So verily, with hardship, there is ease. Surah Ash-Shar 94:6. And she whispered it often, not as a denial of her pain, but as a testimony of her faith. Because Zainab had learned that even in the darkest nights, the mercy of Allah shines brighter than any sunrise.